Howdy guys, welcome back to another one. We're back outside for this one, but we are doing a breakdown on Hornady Heavy Magnum Coyote nickel-plated lead shot. These are a 3-inch 12-gauge load of 1.5 ounces nickel-plated lead BB. So, yeah, pretty good Coyote shell here. And these do have the Versatite wad, which I've heard is a lot like a Federal flat control. I've never really seen up-close detailed pictures of the Versatite wad before. I'm not sure exactly how close it is to a flat control, but I guess we'll be seeing, won't we? Box looks pretty cool. Hornady shotgun shells are kind of hit and miss in terms of like quality and performance. From what I've seen on Matt Tyree's YouTube channel, these do pretty well. Going over the box here, it is just a plain brown cardboard box with some script on it. We have some rifle bullets on there. I'm not really sure why that would be on a shotgun shell box, but maybe it's just standard print. It does look pretty cool. The shiny red is, well, it's like crimson, sort of my favorite color there. This being a Coyote load, it does have a picture of a coyote on it in multiple spots. I mean, overall, it looks okay. There, right there is the classic Hornady label, though. Looks like these perform best with an improved cylinder or modified choke. 1300 FPS forward dram equivalent, 1.5 or 1.5 ounces of lead BB. And these are nickel plated once again. What's the other side look like here? Nothing really of note. Back of it is warnings, nice. Bottom of it is absolutely nothing. Well, like I always say, we didn't come here to look at the box. And this shell right here, guys, is one of the ugliest factory shells I have ever seen. That is a pretty bad crimp for a factory shell. These look like my hand loads whenever I first started putting shells together. It is kind of belled out on top. I'm not really sure how well you can see that on camera, but kind of has a mushroom top to it. It is not tapered at all. There you go, you can see it. Yeah. And the crimp is not very deep set. Look at the top of it, it's dang near flat. There's a hole in the center of the crimp. The left side here is a lot more dished in than the right. Whenever I go to put this back together, I promise I can make that look 10 times better. But it is in a high brass. I believe this is, 16 millimeter brass plated steel head. Hornady head stamp, but this is a Shadite hull, as noted by the Shadite primer. And I have put together so many shells using Shadite hulls, I just know what they look like. Yeah, this is a Shadite hull. It says Hornady Heavy Magnum 12-gauge 3-inch, BB 3 inches is 76 millimeter, 740 bar. That is the pressure on these, although I have no idea what 740 bar translates to in PSI. But guys, that's pretty much all the stuff I can tell you about the shell. It doesn't really look the greatest, to be honest. From a major manufacturer like Hornady, honestly, I would expect a lot better than that. But it doesn't really matter if the shell performs well. When you have crimps that look like that, you will run into issues with inconsistent velocities and pressures and patterns. Not really sure if that matters so much with this wad, but I know with buckshot and slugs and lead shot, obviously, if you have really inconsistent poor crimps, that can really affect your patterns and pressure and velocity. But without further ado, let's crack this open and see how they put this together. For those interested, today's snooze and drink combo is Odin's 69 Extreme White Dry and Monster Original Zero Sugar. Nothing fancy, maybe that, but one thing I forgot to mention, these were sent to us by a viewer, and I have no idea who sent these. I'm assuming it's the same person that sent the Federal 16-gauge Prairie Storms, the Federal Freight Train 3-inch 20-gauge copper slugs, and a couple other things. I have asked everybody I know that has my shipping address, and nobody will take responsibility for sending me these. So I have no idea. I did ask Midway who ordered them, and they couldn't tell me either. So I'm really in the dark about this, but if you sent these to me, please let me know. I'd really appreciate it, and I would like to thank you properly. It's a mystery. Okay, so I have it opened up here, and once again, this is nothing but a 3-inch Coyote 12-gauge hull. Looking down inside of it, you can see the blue sealant CX2000 primer. Very low, flat base wad. The primer is sticking up above it just a little bit. Not really much else to say here. Once again, it's just a Coyote hull. Really good hull, but nothing really special. Having a look at the shot here, it is nickel-plated BB. It looks really nice. They all appear to be the same size, and they're very round. Nickel plating is well done. They seem fully plated. I don't see any missing patches. Let's take a better look at it and measure or weigh it. So for a payload weight, we have just under 1 3/8 ounces at 1.37. Let's call it 1.38. This is a 1 3/8 ounce shell here. Am I insane? No, the box says 1.5 ounces. Why do we only have 1 3/8 shot in here? That don't make any sense, guys. No, I didn't spill any. I didn't take any out. That is all of the pellets that were in that. I guess they're lying about how much the shot weighs. I don't know. Maybe the 1.5 ounces is a misprint, and this is supposed to be 1 3/8. Maybe there's 2 different versions. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they just underestimated or overestimated how much shot is actually in here. Huh. But that being said, that's loud. These do look great. It is very, very good shot here. Nickel plating is very well done. They are all the same size, very uniform, very round. Can't complain about the shot, but I can complain about this not being, well, it's an entire 1/8 ounce off of what it's supposed to be. I don't think 1.5 ounces would even fit in this wad, because as you can see, there's the entire payload, and the wad is, well, it's full. You can't fit any more. Not, well, maybe a couple pellets, but definitely not an entire 1/8 ounce more of that. Nope. But for a charge, we have 33.8. It was 33.8. The wind kind of kicked up a little bit there. But it is just a ball powder. Looks very similar to LS. Alright, so going over the wad here, I'm 95% sure this is just a flight control wad. If you guys didn't know, Hornady does use some Federal components. In fact, their standard 1 ounce 12 gauge slug, what do they call that? It's not the deer season. I don't know, I can't remember. But their standard 1 ounce 12 gauge slug is just a Federal rebranded. We've done a breakdown on the Federal 1 ounce Foster slug. They're plain, you know, standard old 12 gauge slug there. And it has the exact same wad in it that the Hornadys do, and it is the same slug. I believe it was in a different hull, though. I believe the Hornady is in a Coyote, the Federal is in, well, a Federal. But this appears to be just a flight control wad. Maybe there are minor differences. I really can't tell. I've not seen too many flight control wads. None in 3-inch that I can recall anyway. But they are cut the same at the bottom, the powder reservoir, over powder cup, whatever you want to call it. And they do have the 3 little hinges on the side of the wad, exactly like a flight control. If you don't know what flight controls are, they open from the back instead of the front. Obviously, this thing has no regular slits like a normal wad would have, non-tox wad, or I guess target wads too. But yeah, these open from the back, which allows the wad to stay with the shot a little bit longer, thus creating better patterns, in some cases far better patterns than standard wads can do. I've heard these slits right here, the windows, whatever you want to call them, referred to as air brakes. I'm not sure if that's the correct term, because I've also heard and seen the pedals on the bottom of the wad referred to as air brakes. Again, not sure if that's the right term, but that's what I'm going to call them too. there's really not much else to say here other than I'm 95% sure this is just a flight control wad. But I guess let's slap the hull back together and see if I can make it look presentable. Although I can. Well, I told you I can make it look better. Yes, there is a small hole in the middle. I'm not really worried about that. This is a lead shell, not steel. No chance of it rusting, plus the shot is nickel plated, it can't corrode. But we have a really nice taper on there now. The crimp is much deeper set. It is uniform, it's not concaved on one side, and it's completely even. I call that a success, guys. There's been a breakdown on a Hornady Heavy Magnum Coyote 12 gauge 3-inch ounce and a half of nickel plated lead BB, 1300 FPS. I like these. The only thing I can really fault them on is having a very poor crimp and obviously not having a full 1.5 ounce payload. It was only 1 3/8 ounces. So I guess, I don't know, I don't want to say these are faulty. I do like Hornady ammo. I don't know, but we will do a range video on these. Thanks for sending them, whoever you were, or please let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.